Okay, she be gone every single night. Day and night on my mind, pushing you to vibe.
How's it going, everybody? This is Todd Dropper. Hope you're having a great day, and welcome back to another video. Alright folks, it's time for another edition of Haulin Games. In this series I talk about all the pickups that I got into my video game collection every month, and for this one I'm going to be talking about all the games that I got for the month of June of 2022. This month I got myself a PTO week to celebrate the end of my season with the New Jersey Symphony earlier this month, so I used that as an opportunity to try to expand more on my video game collection by doing my second ever week-long video game hunter extravaganza. And pretty much all the game stores that I went to that week pretty much were the same as the last time. Mostly the digital presses, along with all the Games Media, the Level 1 games, and the J2 games in Clifton. Obviously I still hope to expand a little bit more on that, but for now I still stuck it with those game stores because they're the closest ones that I know of to me, and more importantly, at this point in time with gas prices being so high, I really don't want to risk it. So that time will come for another day, but this time around I managed to go to those game stores, do a little bit more expanding on my collection along with my usual eBay finds, and this was the collection that I ended up getting out at the end of the month. Some rather interesting ones, along with some that I really wanted to have, and a couple that I really didn't think about getting as well. But hey, I have all of them here in my collection. I'm really excited to show you some of them, and so let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to start out with our PlayStation 1 games, and the first three are all racing games, but the first two comes from a video game franchise that is still extremely well known today, even though it's not as popular now as it was back then. The first one is Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit. This is pretty much the prequel almost to the PlayStation 2 version of Need for Speed 2 Hot Pursuit, but very good that I get to have this one into my Need for Speed PS1 collection, along with the next one that I have, which is called Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed. In this game, you're racing Porsches across multiple eras, so it's completely different unlike all the other Need for Speed games, and a really interesting one. And finally is Walt Disney World Quest Magical Racing Tour. I kind of look at this as one of those oddball games. I mean, this is basically you're racing characters that are really stars at Walt Disney World, which is usually in Orlando, but there's this piece that's really broken, and you're racing against other people to try to find all those parts and help bring Walt Disney World back to life again. And so this was a really odd choice to get as a video game, in my opinion, but it's one that I did have on my radar for a little while, so I just wanted to get in and see what it's like. And I will be honest with you, not much of a fan of it right now, but I will continue to play a little bit more of this, see if it is eventually a little bit better. Next two that I have here are a couple of war games. The first one is another helicopter game. This one is called Gunship. This is almost similar to games like Black Dog, Nuclear Strike, and Soviet Strike as well. You're basically just defeating all your enemies while you're flying a helicopter in the sky, so not really much different compared to all the other ones, but it's definitely an interesting plot. The other one that I have here is called Forsaken. I actually didn't have this on my radar until like the moment that I saw this, but it came at a pretty good price, so I thought I would go ahead and get this one. And really, it's another one of those post-apocalyptic video games where you're basically fighting against a whole bunch of enemies in a post-apocalyptic world, so it's almost like roadkill and all of that stuff. So it's definitely a pretty unique game for its time. Next couple of games, the first one is the sequel to Rayman. This is Rayman 2 The Great Escape. This is actually the Rayman game that I was more excited to get, because I remember playing this a lot more than the original Rayman when I was a kid, and so I'm very excited to get to add this to my collection again. I'm really looking forward to playing this one. And the next one is a movie-based game called Planet of the Apes. This game was originally meant to come out in 2001, around the same time that the movie did, but unfortunately because of a lot of development and hell that was going on with this game and a lot of poor reception in regards to the gameplay, it was delayed all the way back to 2002 when it came to the PlayStation 1 version of this game. And even then, I played a little bit of it, and I can understand all the critical reception that it got when it came to the gameplay. It really wasn't as good as I thought it would be. However, I am not giving up on this thing. I am going to play a little bit more, hopefully try to complete the story mode of this game, but I'll also say that going off against a whole pack of apes while trying to survive the onslaught is definitely a rather weird concept for a video game. But hey, if it's similar to a movie, you might as well put it in the game, so I'll try to see if I can beat this eventually at some point. And finally, I really have no idea why I even got this one. This is RC Helicopter Remote Control Simulator. I'm going to be honest with you, I have no idea why I even added to this collection. I mean, this is just really a bad game personally. It's really hard to even get all the controls right in this one, but I just wanted to get something that was cheap, and while I was trying to keep it at $50 at Level 1 Games, this was pretty much the cheapest one that I could really find to keep it at $50, so yeah, I just had to get it, but I'm really not a fan of this game. I will try to see if I can get better at this, but it's already looking very bad from my view. The controls are just awful, and pretty much everything else about this game is just virtually bad, but you know what the heck, it's in my collection, so there's really nothing else I could do with regards to this. That's going to do it for all the PlayStation 1 games. We'll go ahead and move on to the PlayStation 2 games, and there were quite a few that I've actually wanted to get for a while that I managed to get during this week-long hunt extravaganza, and the first two I'm especially excited about. They're all from the NFL Street franchise. The very first one is called NFL Street. This was the original one that was released in January of 2004, and it basically builds off the premise of the top NFL players playing street-style football, which is usually NFL rules but in a more street format. The same thing applies to NFL Street 2, which is probably the more popular one of the NFL Street franchise, and so really this is one of those underrated football games that EA Sports came up with in a more street style format, and it's really a couple of games, especially NFL Street 2 here, which is games that I really want to get for quite some time. I don't have NFL Street 3 unfortunately, but I am hoping to get that at some point, but hey, I've been wanting to get these games for quite a while, so I'm very happy to have some NFL Street games in my collection now. A couple more racing games here. The first one is called The Fast and the Furious. As far as I know, this is probably the only known video game I think there is for the PlayStation 2 in regards to the Fast and the Furious franchise, and I remember having this as a kid, but there really wasn't much to say about it, so I thought I'd try it again. Looking forward to playing a little bit of this, and the next one is called Midnight Club Street Racing. The very first game in the Midnight Club franchise, I remember having the last of its games for the PlayStation 2, Midnight Club 3, the dub edition obviously, but this was the game that started it all in the Midnight Club franchise, and so I'm really excited that I get to add this game in my collection. Street racing is obviously illegal in real life, but in racing it's a lot of fun to compete on streets along with a whole bunch of other drivers as well, so if Need for Speed Underground is any indication, I'm looking forward to getting to play this game and giving it a shot as well, so we'll see exactly what happens in regards to this one. We have some Warfighter games now here. The next one is called Rebel Raiders Operation Nighthawk. This is one of those more military aircraft style games in more of a modern day sense. You're facing off against terrorists and trying to defend your world, and so pretty much the same concept as most other video games at this time. Next one is called Star Wars Starfighter. Based off the Star Wars franchise, you're basically playing as some of the top Star Wars characters and a bunch of starfighters going up against, you know, Darth Vader and all of the enemy and some really cool looking starcraft obviously, so this is one of the few games where you really got to play as an actual starfighter in the Star Wars franchise, and so it's definitely a rather interesting pick at the time. I'm looking forward to getting to play this one, and you know, I haven't just seen Star Wars a month ago, you know, this is probably going to bring back a little memories from the very first movie that I saw, so I'm really happy that I got this one. I'm looking forward to getting to play this. Then after that we have Fireblade. Now this is pretty much almost similar to Gunship. This is a nether helicopter based video game that was released in around 2002. Pretty much the same thing as everyone else. You're pretty much fighting off against the enemy, stopping domestic terrorists and all that stuff, and really trying to save your world as well, and so really just like with Gunship, there's really not much to say about this one. It's pretty much the same, you know, obviously a little more advanced too, because there are a little bit more mechanics here in this one compared to Gunship and all those helicopter games from the PlayStation 1, so it is a little bit more unique in its sense. Next couple of games I've been really looking forward to adding for quite a while. The first one of which is Twisted Metal Black. This is a part of the Twisted Metal franchise and a reboot of the Twisted Metal franchise. I heard this was a very good vehicle demolition game, and so I'm really excited to get this one. I've already played it. It is a lot of fun, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing more of this. The other one is called Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne. This one picks up right where the original Max Payne left off. Obviously, you're playing as Max Payne, and then all of a sudden, Mona, who originally died in the previous game, she actually survived it, actually, and she comes back, and then there's this whole bunch of drama that is still going on in New York, and so once again, you're pretty much in this criminal underworld, and you're trying to fight off all the enemy and all that stuff. I still haven't gotten past the original Max Payne. I'm still struggling with that one, but hopefully I can get through with that, and so that way I can get into this game a little bit, and hopefully very soon I can get the third and final Max Payne game that is out there for the PlayStation 3, but I'm real happy to have this one in my collection nonetheless. Finally, the last two games are based off of movies. The first one is called Into the Matrix. This is a game that was released back in 2005 or 6, I think, but either way, this is based off of the Matrix, which has a lot of crazy stuff that goes on in it, and I felt like I wanted to get this one despite the fact that I've never seen The Matrix, so looking forward to playing this and seeing how well this goes. And the other one is called Happy Feet. This was based off of the 2006 film Happy Feet, which I used to watch as a kid, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it was probably one of my favorite kid movies growing up at the time. And I didn't really think that there would be a video game based on this game, but really this was more of an oddball choice. I didn't feel like that I had a movie game for the PS2 in quite a while or so, especially of this kind, so I thought I would go ahead and pick this up. I don't know how the game's gonna look like compared to the movie. Hopefully it's pretty much the same plot as it was as the actual movie, otherwise I'll be a little bit disappointed. But again, this is just a random pickup, didn't really have much thought about it until now, but I'm looking forward to playing this and seeing how well this goes. Moving right along, we move on now to our PlayStation 3 games, and I had a few interesting picks there, but there wasn't really much excitement out of the collection that I got for the PS3 side, so I'll start with the first one. The first one here is called NASCAR the Game Inside Line. This is the sequel to NASCAR the Game 2011. Obviously, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is on the cover, and obviously it's the same as the other NASCAR games. 36 races in a season, you're trying to be the champion now of it. I love NASCAR, I'm happy that I have this game, but this is probably going to be another one of those overplayed games anyways, but it really doesn't matter. The other one is called MX vs. ATV Untamed. All similar to ATV Off-Road Fury, however, you're also racing dirt bikes, ATVs, and a whole bunch of other off-road trucks as well. So there's a lot more action that takes place here in this one. And the other one here is called Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. I know I already have Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit, which you saw in my question earlier. This one here is more of the reboot of the Need for Speed Hot Pursuit game from that particular era. This one is the 2010 version of it, and one that I believe is probably one of the very best in the Need for Speed franchise. It's a Need for Speed game that I've actually had for quite some time on my radio, and I really wanted to get it for quite a while, so I'm very glad that I was finally able to get this game. I'm really hoping it is as good as the reviews say it is, because I heard a lot of good things about this game, and it's almost similar to Burnout as well, so hopefully this is really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to playing this one. Finally, the next couple of games, we have Metro Last Light. This is actually a very interesting pick that I got here. It's another war-based game, however, it's also after a nuclear fallout as well, so I'm looking forward to playing this one. And the other one is called Heavy Rain. I really did not know a whole lot about Heavy Rain anyways. I mean, I really got this one just because, I found it for a really good price and all that stuff, but I knew absolutely nothing about this game until I got it. I do know a little bit about this now. I really don't know exactly what the whole plot of it looks like, but, I really hope that it's a very good game, because I didn't pick this game up for nothing, so, yeah, I am looking forward to playing this one. Hopefully it's pretty good, and so, we'll see exactly what happens here. Alright, finally we move on to the PlayStation 4 games. I only got a couple for this month. One of them, though, I'm very excited to get. The first one, this completes the Gran Turismo franchise, at least for now. This is Gran Turismo Sport. This was a game that was released back in 2017, obviously, and really more of a spin-off game from the other Gran Turismo games. It's more of racing, some of the top race cars in the world at a whole bunch of tracks, and really one of those more advanced GT games that there is. I know that Gran Turismo 7 has been out for a while now, so I'm hoping to get that at some point, whether it's for the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 5, whenever I do get that console. But for now, until I get that, I pretty much have every Gran Turismo game from the very beginning all the way to now, so very happy to have that, and hopefully I'll get GT7 soon, but I'm looking forward to playing this one. Finally, the last one for this month is called Until Dawn. This is actually a game where I actually saw a gameplay off of YouTube, and I really didn't know if I really want to get this game, but ultimately I decided to make the decision to pick this one up. You're basically trapped in the middle of the night in a really discreet forest. You're also underground a few times, and really there's a lot that's happening as well. You're trying to fend off against these zombie looking figures, unfortunately, and like I said before, you have to make your decisions fast before it completely messes up the entire plot of the story, because what happens in this game based on what you decide is going to affect the outcome of this game. Yeah, this is an interesting game, but I've heard of some really good things about this as well. I really don't know personally, but based on what the gameplay is like, I am looking forward to getting to play this one, so hopefully I get to play this one very soon, and hopefully this is a really good game, because Until Dawn is probably now one of those underrated good games for the PlayStation 4, so this should be rather exciting to play. And that's going to do it for this month. All the games that I got for the month of June of 2022. For that week off that I had, although it definitely wasn't as big as I wanted it to be, at the same time, I just really wanted to continue to save all the money, so I really didn't go exactly too big on this one, but still, I found a lot of good choices here for this month's collection, and overall, I'm pretty proud of exactly what I got for my second week-long video game hunt extravaganza, and so I'm definitely excited about getting the opportunity to do this again. I'm hoping I get to do something like this again, or at least 1 or 2 more times before the end of the year, but either way though, you know, the collection keeps expanding obviously, and so hopefully within the next couple months I'll try to lay it down a little bit, try to see if I can get a little bit more in a smaller case, and whenever I get a nail week off or something like that, hopefully I could then go big and try to find exactly more games that I could add in my collection that are big time. But I don't know, at some point I'm going to need a game wrap because I really enjoy video game collecting, and yeah, these are some pretty good games that I added into my collection for this month. Anyways, that's going to do it for another video. I hope you all enjoyed it. As always, if you'd like to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when my latest video is released. As always, comment below for future suggestions for all my videos, whether it's vlogs, projects, or challenges, or video game content, you name it, leave it in the comments below and I'll do my best to make them. As always, follow me in my social media, all the links are in the description below. That's going to do it for another midweek upload. Hope you're having a great day, and as always, I hope to see all of you again in another video very soon. So long, everybody.